Mhm.
So I just want to dive into and just, kind of go back a little bit. I always just like to hear and just understand the story of, some of the entrepreneurs we talk to. And one question I'm always interested to know, because one thing that we want to do with the podcast is really help, other entrepreneurs, other people who are looking to use their gift, talent, service, right, to really impact the world, just like I say that Jesus impacted the world, right, when he came upon this earth. But there's a view of finances, there's a view of money, there's a view of business, right, to where these things are disconnected from faith, right? Or there could be a thought process that people have that the more money you make, right, then the less faith that you have, for example, right,
Mhm.
or different things of that nature. And so I just want to get your understanding from you, right? When you were growing up, in your family and in your church community, right? What was that view of money or finances, right? What was it then? And how has it transformed over the years to the place that you are now?
Yeah, my understanding that's an awesome question. My understanding of it then was to work. You work for it, you go to college, you get a good degree, and that will afford you the opportunity to get a good job. Obviously, I'm like probably like my avatar in a way, but but you discover otherwise now. This does not mean that going to college is a bad route. It's not a bad
Hmm.
route, but you still have to be present in a way. You have to operate certain principles as you're going through college to take advantage of the networks that you come across, to leverage those networks
Mm,
and determine how you are to be of use in reference to your networks, how you can be of service and make it all come together as opposed to just working a job. Anybody can
mm,
punch a clock and take directives. You know what I'm saying? But entrepreneurship is way different. You got to be
mm,
connected. You got to be connected with your mission, with the vision. You got to be connected with it, and you have to basically be. You have your own dispatch system in a way to where you know where you're directed, and that is your driver.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? But just punching a clock, going to work, that's honorable. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's so much that you can pay attention to. I see having a job. I see having a job like you're getting paid to go to school, basically. So
mm,
you're in a position to learn their systems. You see what I'm saying? Like I
mm.
feel like everybody's in a position in a great position. As long as that boss or that manager understands that we're helping each other out. Like I'm not just helping you. Like this job got to serve me as well.
Right, right.
That's just how I see it. Like if they don't see it that way, well, I have to position myself in a way to where you know what I'm here. I'm here to study. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying? And I'm gonna apply the systems that I learned within this job to my own thing later.
mm.
And you use the job, you leverage it to perhaps start your own thing or to advance within that structure. You may be called to that job or
Right.
to that company. You see what I'm saying? So, but you may be called to lead in it because when you learn things in the trenches, you'll better understand how to be the CEO of that company as well.
Mm. That's a good point. Like every job is a school.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. That's a great concept to have, and it gives us a different mindset so that people, because there's a lot of discontent, across the
right,
board. And this is
right.
not even for people who say, "Well, I want to be a business owner," for example, right? It's just
Hmm.
people who just discontent and they don't necessarily desire to be a business owner. They just don't like the job that they're working in, right?
Right.
But then it really deals with the expectations that we have. Me and my wife were actually listening to a sermon yesterday that's really talked about expectations and
Hmm.
how Psalm 62:5 says our expectation comes from the Lord, right? And when we have the understanding that all things that we desire is actually coming from the Lord, even though He may give it through an individual, the expectation is not met just by the individual, but through the Lord working through the individual, right? But that in and of itself changes so much of how we then deal with the individual, right? And
Right.
so that makes me think about your statement when you say, you know what? we have to come and look at work as if it's a school, it's a training ground. Like, I'm here to not just to give of myself, but I'm here to receive. I'm receiving information on how to structure a system. I'm receiving information on how to deal and process reports, or how to really put together good customer service, or to see, like, if I'm
Right.
looking at it from that perspective and learning so much and taking this, oh man, it changes your thought process of how you go to work every day then,
Yeah.
right? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
Yeah.
and,
So
and the the,
uh,
the, la- the last I know I cut you off.
no, no, go
The
ahead.
the last like in terms of the company that I was working for, I was working for AT&T. This was some years back. Like there were so many things I loved about that job. Of course, there
Mhm,
were some things I didn't like, but really the only reason I stopped doing it was because it was cutting in the family time like quite a bit. And
mhm,
but what I loved about that job is that I could go because I was installing internet. That's internet and cable. Once I got to work and I hit the job and went to the customer's house, I was there. It was me.
mhm,
I could obviously there were metrics involved, but there wasn't anyone overshadowing me. Of course, a manager could stop by to check on you. That would happen, but other than that, it was you were being held accountable. You see what I'm saying?
mhm,
The metrics was going to speak for itself as far as whether or not you did the job and everything. But as an example, with that particular job, I was given the opportunity to exercise my entrepreneurial muscle
mhm,
because I didn't have anyone over my shoulder
mhm,
24/7 checking on me. So that job served me. And now